welcome to another Wolftime gaming video. We are back with Star Wars Legion this week, and we are going to be painting up these STAP riders. Well, just the one on the screen anyway. They do come in a box with two. I'm going to show you how I've painted one. Obviously I'm painting them both the same. They're absolutely fantastic looking models, really easy to paint, and I've only used 6 paints to get them looking really good. Before we get started on the painting though, as usual, let's get that kettle on. If you've been here before, you'll know the first thing we want to do is give your miniature a really good base coat. I've used Games Workshop Grey Seer, which allows me to use some of the contrast paints from the Games Workshop range, because they're absolutely fantastic, and they really do mean that you've only got to use 1 paint instead of 3 trying to highlight afterwards. So I've used Grey Seer on the actual model itself, and on the base I've used a Chaos Black. Now the first paint we're going to be using is a contrast paint called Basilicum Grey. Now we're going to paint all sort of the working parts of the actual STAP itself. So you've got all that center area, which is all looking really mechanical, just below that sort of top dome, I suppose you could call it, as well, because we're going to go with a sort of that traditional sort of brown colour for the rest of it, and also the handlebars as well. Really important to try and pull out all of those bits and pieces. And the grey works really well because it sinks down into the recesses, as you've seen a million times before with these videos. The contrast paints work absolutely amazingly. If you were to try and do this with normal paints, you'd probably use a black, a dark grey, and then a lighter grey over the top, but there's no need, because you can just stick this down, it does the job for you. Now the next paint we're going to be using is Contrast Skeleton Horde. If you've seen some of my droid painting videos before, you'll know I've used this throughout all the B1 battle droids, so I wanted for these guys to be exactly the same, to fit in with the rest of the theme of the army. It goes on so well. And as you can see, it drops in really nicely and gives you this really nice darker areas in all those recessed areas around the droid. There's a lot of detail on these droids, and I don't think they're fully appreciated sometimes, the amount of work that's gone into actually getting them looking, you know, this good, really getting the sculpts looking this good. So you really want to be able to show that off, and the contrast paint's perfect for that, because it does drop into those lower areas. You may want to go around and just touch up a little bit afterwards with the contrast paint, because sometimes it does pull away a little bit too much. Now the brown areas on the STAP itself, I'm going to start with a Mournfang brown. This isn't a contrast paint, it's a normal base paint. It's the same paint I used on the Droidicas very many months ago when I first picked up the Star Wars Legion box, or the Clone Wars box anyway. I wanted it to sort of fit with that same sort of colour theme, and it's not far off what you see on screen as well. At the moment you can see it's quite bright, but we will be darkening that down with a shade in just a moment, but essentially covering all the areas that you haven't put any of the grey, Basilicum Grey paint on earlier on. Now we're looking at actually shading this, and I'm going to be using Agrax Earthshade, or I am using Agrax Earthshade, to actually cover the whole of that brown area. So every part that you've painted Mournfang brown, stick this Agrax Earthshade on, and it works absolute wonders. Now if you weren't using some of the contrast paints, you could have used this on maybe the droid as well, if you wanted to go with a, you know, a Shabti Bone or something paint scheme on the actual droid. You could have added the Mournfang brown. It would have given you a similar effect to the actual Skeleton Horde, but I think this works really well together, and it's a really nice mix. And essentially that's the miniature. It's got all the paint on there, you just need to leave it to dry. Now the basing, I'm going with that similar sort of base to what we've done in the past. You can see just on the top right hand corner of your screen there, I've got a bit of an insert showing you how to apply this. This is a Martian Iron Earth that I'm actually popping on the miniature, another Games Workshop technical paint. It works absolute wonders, because you can see you put it on really thickly, as I'm doing in the top right hand corner, and it turns out like this. It cracks, once it dries it cracks. It's really nice. You can see I've left crosses in there just to help with gameplay as well. Just on the, the indents on the actual base, so you can see them really clearly when you're playing games. Next thing I'm doing is sticking some of this alien fire grass tufts on there. It's really bright orange with a little bit of tan on the top, and I think it works really well when you mix it with this Martian iron earth on the base. But that's the miniatures complete. You can see both of the miniatures there, painting them both in exactly the same manner. They look absolutely fantastic. It's such a really quick and easy paint scheme to follow. There's no messing about. If you wanted to add a little bit of damage to the STAP, you could probably dry brush a little bit of silver on there or something where you could see scrapes and things. But I wanted them to look a little bit dirty, but fairly in good shape really. I imagine when these things are shot, they pretty much spin out of control and smash into the ground anyway, so I don't think they take too much damage. So I think I wanted them to look a little bit dirty, like they're being a bit in a fight, but without going into too much. But thanks for watching, guys. I really do appreciate you watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed actually making it, and I hope it does help with your painting as well. Hit that subscribe button to see some more future content from me. I've got lots coming your way. Go and check out the channel as well, because there's loads of content on there for like Star Wars, Armada and Legion. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.